Hi everyone, how are you? Welcome to another question and answer session for MRCS Party exam. This is physiology portion of MRCS. The question: which of the following statement relating to the gastric acid secretion are untrue? That means in case of gastric acid, this, which is the hydrochloric acid secretion, which is not true. That means which is false. Here the options are: in parietal cell, carbonic anhydrase generate hydrogen ion, which are then actively secreted. The cephalic phase is abolished following the truncal vagotomy. The interstitial phase accounts for 60% of the gastric acid production or produced. Histamine acts a paracrine manner on H2 receptors. H2 receptor antagonist will not completely abolish gastric acid production. So we have to find out one of the options which is not true regarding the hydrochloric acid secretion or gastric acid secretion. So here we can see the normal secretion of hydrochloric acid. Here we can see hydrogen and chloride from hydrochloric acid, and there are different type of mechanism. First of all, here we can see one stimuli from the vagus nerve, and from the vagus nerve we know that the vagus nerve, which is a parasympathetic nervous system component, and this parasympathetic nervous component vagus nerve, it secretes the acetylcholine, and this acetylcholine, it acts on parietal cell and secretes hydrochloric acid. On the other hand, we can see the vagus nerve, it also acts on G cell and production of the gastrin from the G cell, and this gastrin also acts on the parietal cell and causes secretion of hydrochloric acid. And there are different type of stimuli are responsible for this hydrochloric acid secretion, including the histamine. Now let's see some important information regarding the hydrochloric acid. The phases of gastric acid secretion, the three important phases. One of them is cephalic phase, which secretes about 30% of the hydrochloric acid. Gastric phase, and it causes release of 60% of the hydrochloric acid. And interstitial phase, which is responsible for 10%. Here it is not 30%, it is 10%. So cephalic phase, gastric phase, and intestinal phase. Cephalic phase responsible for 30%, gastric phase 60%, which is the larger amount when food in the stomach, and intestinal phase, it is 10% when there is no chyme in the stomach. All of the food material enters into the small intestine, but some of the hydrochloric acid secretes, and it is about 10%. Here we can see the details of the phases of gastric acid, that means the hydrochloric acid secretion. First of all, cephalic phase, that means this time there is no food in the stomach, there is no food material in the stomach, but the smell, taste, or sensation of the food, it causes secretion of the hydrochloric acid or gastric acid in the stomach, and it is about 30%, which is one of the most important part. Then here we can see the gastric phase, that means when food enters into the stomach and causes distension of the stomach, and this distension stimulates release of the hydrochloric acid, and it is about 60% of the total acid. Then third and final, which is the intestinal phase, when food in the duodenum, this time also some of the hydrochloric acid secrete. And here we can see the in cephalic phase, the vagal cholinergic stimulation causing secretion of hydrochloric acid, and also gastrin release from the G cell, and this gastrin also acts on the parietal cell and causes secretion of the hydrochloric acid. And when in the gastric phase, the stomach distension, low pH, and peptides, they are responsible for the secretion of the hydrochloric acid. So here our answer is ready, That which is not true regarding the gastric acid secretion. Here the options: the interstitial phase, it accounts for here 60%, but it is known to us that it is not 60%, it is 10%. Other option here, such as the in parietal cell, carbonic anhydrase generates hydrogen ion and which is actively secreted. It is true, because in the parietal cell there is a lot of the carbonic anhydrase enzyme, and this carbonic anhydrase enzyme, it causes generation of the hydrogen ion in the parietal cell, and actively which actively secretes into the stomach in exchange with the potassium ion. The second option, cephalic phase is abolished following truncal vagotomy. We know this cephalic phase when there is food, and a smell taste of the food causes a release of the hydrochloric acid from the parietal cell of the stomach through a nerve which is vagus nerve. So when truncal vagotomy or vagotomy is done in this condition, there is no sensation through the vagus nerve in the stomach wall, and there is no secretion of the hydrochloric acid in the cephalic phase. And histamine, it acts as a paracrine manner on the H2 receptor. It is also true, because the histamine, it is released from the different type of the cell in the stomach, and it acts on the H2 receptor. And this histamine, when we give antihistamine, then it blocks the histamine and also reduce the hydrochloric acid secretion. And H2 receptor antagonist will not completely abolish the gastric acid secretion. It is also true, because the H2 receptor antagonist, such as ranitidine, famotidine, they acts on the parietal cell of the stomach, but they cannot completely reduce or completely abolish the secretion of the hydrochloric acid. So this is all about the gastric acid secretion from the parietal cell of the stomach. If you have any question regarding any topics or any subject, you can comment here and I will try to reply. Thank you all. And this picture is very important regarding the hydrochloric acid secretion. uh, Main of the stimulus is the vagus nerve, but some other condition which also responsible for the secretion of the hydrochloric acid, such as in any type of the stress condition or in the burn condition, there is typically a release of the hydrochloric acid occurs.